Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. The World Cup is hotting up, and today's guest was a whole lot of fun. You're in for a treat. But I do need to highlight to you all that I'm typically 3 to 5 days ahead when recording podcasts, just to give me a little bit of a buffer, because publishing a daily show takes a little bit of planning. Now, today's episode was recorded while Argentina were preparing for their final group game, and we all know how it ended for Macy and co. But this episode was recorded when there was still a little bit of hope. But you didn't tune into a World Cup podcast. This is a tech show. Angelani is the CEO of Softvision, which is a digital services company that creates customised experiences that ultimately connects consumers to brands. The company successfully fostered a culture of continuous discovery where design, technology, process and talent all blend to drive digital innovation at scale for the company's marquee of global clients that contain some pretty big names such as Estee Lauder and Macy's, to name just a few there. It's a really interesting conversation about how businesses are now trying to become tech companies. It's a really interesting conversation about how businesses are now trying to become a tech company and create digital experiences to meet those customer expectations. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to the Bay Area so we can speak with Angelani, CEO at Softvision. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
My name is Angelani. I'm, first of all, I was born in Argentina, so Argentinian Italian parents. I'm the CEO of Softvision. I lead about 2,600 people across 19 studios in the US, Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Romania, India, Nepal, Australia, and maybe I'm forgetting some countries. So we're pretty diverse all around the world. So I grew up in Argentina. I traveled around the world. I spent actually 4 years in London, living there, working for a company called Globant. I spent about 14 years there. And then I came to the US in 2008. I lived in California. Now I moved to Austin, Texas. And maybe in 2 or 3 years, I'm somewhere else. But so through travel and working with customers, I develop what we call digital experiences for customers.
So you're a digital nomad in every sense, aren't you then?
Yes, yeah, exactly. All over, in every port.
Now, Softvision is a digital services company that creates customized experiences that connects consumers to brands, like you said a few moments ago. But can you just offer an overview of exactly what Softvision is and what problems you solve for your clients? And also what makes you unique from other solutions out there?
So the main problem really is just one line. It's become, help companies become tech companies. That's the main issue. Allow these traditional companies, large companies, they all say we want to become tech companies, but it's obviously easier said than done, right? So what does this mean? We build technology to simplify, to expand experience of our clients' products and services, then help the customers go to market, helping their delivery process, influencing the delivery approach, helping them really move faster and deliver in quality and basically what our customers want and what they need. Anticipate their needs and surprise them as well. And then we have two main structures in the company that help develop a culture of innovation for customers. We call them guilds, which are talent communities where the customer is part, and pods, which are our cross-functional delivery teams that, among other things, they kind of help bridge the gap between our client's product, design, and technology teams. So normally what happens is that in the traditional world, companies working in, especially more larger companies working in silos. Technology is one side, products on another side, and design. And normally they leverage engineering through different companies, and they do outsourcing. Kind of a complex ecosystem. So helping them, bridge the gap across these, really normally comes to a better product faster, and enabling the customer to kind of test their assumptions quickly and iterate and bring success by iteration, by testing things out, is what we do very well. So it's basically, to summarize, a tech company needs to be able to, improve in order for a traditional company to become a tech company, you have to change your process. You have to become more agile. You have to be able to deliver products, and digital assets, really connecting to what you had before as a business, in order to create new opportunities and leverage opportunities to create new business models to connect to a customer better. But also that requires the culture changes to become faster, to become more agile, to become to really put the customer in the center. These organizations that are normally flat and siloed needs to become circular around the customer.
One of the things I absolutely love about your story is that you were originally from Buenos Aires and you have spent so much time traveling the world and working in different areas in the world. So do you think that gives you a unique perspective on the digital economy and also what it takes to win, particularly at a global level and working with that global community?
Well, I think that what I learned is that, living in different places around the world and delivering out of different places that each, we have this concept called studios, right? And these studios are where our talent communities live. And these studios are spread out around the world. The studios have strengths and weaknesses, but we leverage the strengths of each region, of each geography. And if we can weave that talent together, then we can deliver predictably, and we can deliver at higher quality. What this means is basically just creating that combination of skill set, scale, and skill at the right moment in the life cycle of the customer's program or the customer's roadmap. And this is understood as, if I'm designing something, maybe I leverage communities of talent that are close to my geography because they understand the culture better. And obviously culture is very important. It's critical in design. But as I need to scale it out and build, multiple applications across many regions around the world, then I can leverage other areas in different geographies. As long as the delivery methodology is the same, the culture is shared, the corporate culture is shared, or those values are leveraged and are lived by every member of these communities around the world. So the fact of having this global view allows us to really to scale these programs into kind of transformative partnerships, transformative experiences. So I think that being around has helped me kind of develop this mindset that doesn't really limit the teams to work in a particular area of expertise in a particular geography is around.
Now, another thing that I think we need to highlight is Softvision has a very strong client roster, especially in retail. We've got big names like Estee Lauder and Macy's, etc. I'm curious, are there any big trends of the kind of problems that all your clients are coming to you for help with? And also, are you helping them to overcome them? I mean, you said a few moments ago that essentially it's just traditional businesses, traditional industries want to become tech companies. Is that what everyone's coming to you for?
Well, that's the main purpose, let's put it that way. But at the foundation of that is, really establish a direct relationship with your customers and create this long-term view of, the customer needs, the wishes, the wants and the issues, eliminating that kind of friction. Most, you mentioned Estee Lauder, Macy's, they're working on just, really reducing the areas of friction and making sure that if you're visiting at a store, if you're in, leveraging a property that's been there for years, that your experience there is more of like a lifestyle kind of experience rather than just going and going there for a transaction just to get something and buy it. They're trying to provide that experience. If you are doing if you're connecting to the brand online, through a mobile app or through any other touch point, but make it kind of very seamless and enjoying those experiences that are either on the web or a mobile app and at the store as well. So as the experience becomes one unified and you are in every single channel, and it's not just a logistical kind of advantage of ordering online and picking up store anymore. It's much more than that. It's about what you were exploring, what your actual needs are, who you are as a person, and how the brand can actually help you fulfill or, really give you an idea of, what should you buy and what makes sense for you particularly, in a much more kind of hyper personalized engagement. That's what the distinguishes a brand from the other brand. And that is done really with a combination of, the right technology at the right moment, but also the right content, the right process, and the right people's training, etc. Right? So that's normally through building technology, you really help the customer change the environment around them. And that's what normally that's the impact that we normally try to produce at these customers.
I think it's also worth highlighting as well that we're talking about digital experiences and technology here in 2018, but there are two pretty big milestones coming up. I mean, Softvision is approaching its 20th anniversary, which shows you just how long you guys have been in this business. And I believe you're also approaching your 1-year anniversary as CEO. So can you reveal anything about how you're going to be celebrating? Or more importantly, are there any big plans for the future that you can share with us today?
Well, I haven't got fired yet, so I reached my first year already. So I reached my first year in March, so it's been a little bit over a year. So we are working on various things. First of all, we are establishing deeper relationships, much more transformative relationships with our customers. And this is connected to your previous question, actually, which is, what is the impact, right? In order for us to produce a deeper impact, a transformative impact to our customers, we are establishing longer-term relationships, providing and bringing to them other disciplines that are not only related to making and running products, but also to engaging with customers and evolving their processes and their culture. So we call those transformational partnerships. So that's one thing. The other one is, as we grow, we continue to leverage globally. So we have studios in Eastern Europe, in Asia, now in South America. Recently, we started the studio in Buenos Aires. We have studios in Canada and the US, and we keep expanding Asia, of course, and we keep expanding those studios around the world. The other one is, in order for us to make, really provide a way for the customer to see that it's going in the right path towards digital transformation, we provide something we developed something that we call labs, which is Softvision labs, which are small teams like SWAT teams that prove points, right? They establish and they create quick wins for the customer. And these normally leverage either emerging technologies, new design trends, and they work very, very closely with the customer to create a prototype or create a POC and really get to a feasible, attainable, but quick result, right? So we call them Softvision lines. That's the third one. And the other one is building. We have, as I said before, we have communities of talent. We call them guilds. So we are always investing in the latest technologies. Artificial intelligence now, most of all, it's very intriguing and very interesting because it allows to understand the customer better and basically predict some of their behaviors, and just in order to help and augment that experience. The other one is, the transactional nature and the unregulated structure of a blockchain is also pretty interesting. Insurance clients and financial service clients are exploring this with us as well. And that's an area where we are not only hiring people that come with that particular knowledge, but also training the communities to absorb the knowledge of new technologies. So there are like 4 things that we're doing right now.
And you guys really do seem to have successfully fostered a culture of continuous discovery. I mean, you mentioned those emerging technologies there, but it seems to be where design, technology, process, and talent are all put together to blend and drive digital innovation at scale. Which I think is fantastic, especially when you're doing it in front of a marquee of global clients. But can you tell me more about how you did this, and also how you overcome people's natural resistance to change, especially where technology is concerned?
Sure. So okay. So let's divide the question in 2. So how we've done that. So we created a structure of horizontals, we call it. Horizontals are guilds. Mobile is a guild. Enterprise is a guild. Design thinking is a guild. UX is another guild. So these different disciplines come together when we work for customers. They blend in what we call agile pods, which is teams made up of members of different guilds working together. That bridges lots of gaps. It bridges the gap of understanding products. It bridges the gap of understanding and talking to technology, bridges the gap of understanding how the product needs to evolve and whether the design system of the client is the optimal one or not. So it's a very multi-dimensional team that really influence the customer. But in order to produce change, I think there are two things and to overcome that kind of natural resistance to change. First, inclusion, right? So the customer needs to be included in these teams. Normally we create what we just mentioned, these cross-functional, multidimensional pods, have teams from the customer as well. So you can have people that have come, from the, maybe with 20, 25, 30 years experience working for that particular company. Those guys need to be part of those teams as well. In many cases, what happens is that there are a lot of investments in innovation by companies, but they do it as a set of programs, right? So if the program is not connected to the core, to the mainstream of the business, then the mainstream business normally rejects the innovation because they, first, they were not part of it. And second, most cases, the what's being created or what's being prototyped or the concept being developed cannot be scaled in the mainstream because there are a lot of other constructs and a lot of other restrictions that need to be overcome. And normally these teams are disconnected from the core, don't really take all the assumptions into account. So if innovation doesn't scale, it's not useful, right? It's just a test, like a little prototype and nothing else, leveraging new technologies. So inclusion is absolutely critical. And the other one, quick wins. If we don't show iteratively that we are moving in the right direction with measurable goals, with real KPIs, and how do you incentivize? How do you keep funding coming, right? At one point, somebody's going to pull a plug and say, well, lights out, sorry, but we can't keep spending money here without seeing anything, right? So it's very important that, that these traditional companies that are trying to become tech companies, leverage both inclusion and agility in order to bring those results to bear as quickly as possible.
Now, we have spoken about those traditional companies and how they desperately want to become tech companies, especially now the digital transformation of everything seems to be taking place. And there's probably going to be a lot of CEOs listening that are starting to pay attention to this. So can you help anyone that is listening visualize how you partner with clients and actually enable them with these game-changing digital experience solutions? And also how you help them stay ahead in an ever-changing world?
Really, at the core, companies are starting to mutate into these circular structures that are around the customer, right? So obviously that's nice for a white paper, but it's very, very difficult to implement, right? So what we have done here with 2,600 people, it's not a huge company, it's, considerable size, but not huge, is we've created a circular structure and it's composed by something called guilds, which is the horizontals, the pods, which are the cross-functional teams that really help the customer bridge all those different silos, and then the ability to scale, globally through our studios. So this type of governance model plus the obviously our expertise and proficiency in design trends and new emerging technologies as well as traditional technologies helps us kind of plug in and help the customer create this system of sustainable innovation. And when we say sustainable innovation is not just to disrupt. It's to also, when innovation is built into the core of the company, into the core of the business, it's discovering all the time. So working on how to engage better. At the same time, it's making products and running products, and at the same time is evolving roadmaps, then that company can be considered itself a tech company. What happens now is that the traditional company normally does makes things, and then they run it, right? And then there is a design phase, and they improve certain things. and then they think about how they do things, but they all do it disjointly. They don't do it at the same time. What we do is help these customers parallelize, really, multi-thread all these different disciplines and do it at the same time. So that's where the company really stays ahead of the game, but it requires a fundamental change and shift in how they are organized, right? Normally those customers take, especially the large companies, it's not just a function of refactoring, reorganizing the company, because that creates a huge amount of friction, political turf wars, and a lot of issues that are a consequence of change, right? So in order for them to keep themselves, in this cycle of sustainable innovation, normally what we provide is that transformative nature partnerships, where we establish a long-term relationship where we bring this circular organization around the customer, so that in terms of, how do we design products and how we develop products and how we run them and how we evolve the systems around them, we do it in an approach that they can hook into initially without having to disrupt the organization and create a whole lot of additional issues that are a consequence of that. We prevent that from happening, as well as provide them a way to evolve in a way that's not as disruptive as just moving the company and shaking the company.
Big thank you for coming on the show today. Before I do let you go, is there anything else that you're particularly excited about, that you're working on towards in the future, that you can share with us today?
So we are constantly working to refine how we produce impact, and we call this thing Transformational Partnerships. We're writing a book about it. So hopefully it's going to be out in a few months, where we really explain, all these kind of hard things, like, okay, let's create some technology and let's create digital assets, but at the same time, how, the organization and those human beings in the organizations kind of, what's the best way to approach them and to motivate them, incentivize them to move to the next level and create real transformation and enjoy that transformation. So we're dealing with aspects of, AI versus the human, and what it can be automated versus not automated. So that's an area that we are passionately exploring, because we believe that we can really, technology can help progress and not disrupt it if it's leveraged in the right way. So that's probably the area of excitement that, with these things and these thoughts and this thought leadership that we create, we also change ourselves and try to make us better. So that's probably what keeps me excited about what's coming about, Softvision.
Fantastic. Well, if we have awoken the curiosity in any CEOs listening, where's the best place that they can find you guys online, and also contact a member of your team if they've just got any questions or want to carry on the conversation?
Sure. So we are Softvision.com. Softvision.com has a lot of insights and a lot of thought leadership that CEOs can find. As well, my LinkedIn profile, Andres Angelani, and my email is very easy, andres@softvision.com.
Excellent. Well, before I do let you go, you are a digital nomad. You're a citizen of the world, but your heart is in Argentina. So I've got to ask the question, have you been following the World Cup at all? And are you guys going to turn it around and get through to the next round?
That's the most difficult question of the podcast. We're keeping ourselves optimistic, though it doesn't look good so far.
You've got Messi and Aguero, so I think you've got a good chance. I wouldn't.
That's what really proves that what we create here, this cross-functional nature and multidisciplinary nature of pods, which, because at the end of the day, a soccer team is a pod of multidisciplinary skills, matters more than the person, the heroes, that we plug in, right? So, that just to give you that a little bit of, I think that Argentina has a lot of work in that regard.
I love how you managed to be able to look at the World Cup and the soccer tournament there and have a tech angle and a tech point to make on that. It was absolutely brilliant. But seriously, a huge thank you for coming on today and sharing that story with me. I think it's so valuable, and I love what you're doing there. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Another fantastic guest I could have chatted to for hours, and such a talented guy too. And a few things we didn't cover in the interview is that he is a frequent speaker and thought leader on how to scale digital innovation in organisations. And he's also co-authored a book called The Never Ending Digital Journey, Creating New Consumer Experiences Through Technology. And I love how he is a digital nomad in every sense of the word. But most of all, how that shaped his unique perspective to the digital economy and what it takes to win, particularly at a global level. But let me know if you have anything to add to today's conversation by emailing me techblogwriter@outlook.com, or you can tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. But all that's left for me to say is enjoy the rest of your day. Keep those pics coming in of where you listen to the show and your holiday pics, because it really does help brighten up my day and also my office and podcast studio here in the UK. So a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.